Good morning, a very soggy morning, okay? Hopefully the subject matter will not be dry, okay? All right. A little bit of a review. Last time we ended up talking about a couple of crops, actually several crops, and mainly, cassava, and then, of course, sweet potatoes. And we talked about tapioca pudding and all that kind of stuff. And so we'll continue with this section 4, which is part of what we presented last time, all right? So we'll go on like this, and hopefully sometime today we'll engage slavery, all right? But let's finish this, okay? We talked about this: cassava, sweet potato, dasheen, and sugar cane. Sugar cane kind of lightly. We'll pick it up again in the slave section. Section 4, okay. It's yeah. And we're talking then about the Columbian Exchange. And you'll see that we have emphasized, and as he should, the exchange of vegetable material, and haven't said much about animals, okay? They are over here: livestock, cattle, sheep, pig, horse, and goat. They forgot to put goat, and that's important, okay? So it's that. That's the Columbian Exchange. So we're in the middle of that. There it is, the whole thing. Okay, all right. I forgot to put people. It went both ways too. Okay, and we're Homo sapiens, so we're species. Okay. Okay.
So coffee originated in.
I'm sorry.
Coffee. It originated in North Africa, or?
It's in Abyssinia or Ethiopia. Yeah.
Ethiopia?
Yeah, we covered that. The first lecture went into details, and he has a fascinating history, of course. Okay, let's digress a little bit and talk about bulls, okay? Now, don't get scared. Don't get scared now, because... There. That animal does not exist, fortunately. It's about 4 times the size of the biggest bull we have now. That's an auroch, and it was originally in Europe. This is a reconstructed specimen, and you can see it in Braunschweig in Germany. And it concerns them because it was the original one. It was supposed to be the strongest animal, and so forth and so on. And guess what? This fitted with Nazi thinking. The Nazis thought they had the pure man coming, the Indo-European, Aryans, and so on. So they said, well, this is the same. This was the original animal, and it got corrupted, okay? Corrupted by mixing and so on. Totally wrong. But anyway, this animal was in Europe, all over, in the woods, open grasslands, whatever. But glaciation and other factors came, and it disappeared. Okay.
When did it die out?
It died out, yeah.
About what year? What year?
It was, I can't date it for you, but I can give you that. When the Neanderthals were around, there were no aurochs, okay? Although, pre-Neanderthal, you see, this is the range. And these are paintings in France, let's go, also in Altamira, Spain. And you clearly see this guy and that, okay? So they had aurochs going on, probably fled from them, because these guys were not nice, apparently. There was, from this is to scale. So this is the auroch. It's small, visible udder, okay? So if you compare it to modern bulls, the physiognomy is quite different. So we have more of a smaller animal, an animal that can be domesticated and that can be made use of. Here's a painting. I usually bring in this, what I call romanticized views of, so they have an auroch, Heinrich Harder. I don't know who the guy was, okay? So forgive me, art people, if I don't know that, okay? But they are just fighting wolves, and that is to scale, okay? But bull and the Mediterranean, they go together. We've been with it a long, long time. And you see in the palace of Minos in Crete, and they are bull jumping, okay? And this was something they did for fun, okay? You know? Whereas I think most of us will not do that. We will just try to run away from the thing before it gets us, okay? But in Spain today, they do this. They continue doing this. So you think, and this is fun. I'm not talking about bullfighting. It's just bull jumping, just like this guy's doing, okay? And it's a sport, but they keep practicing. Very old. I mean, it goes way before Roman times. Okay?
When they do that, are they landing partially on the back and then propelling them off the back?
Oh, they grab, it's just like, okay, it's like here. They grab them and they jump, and you see?
Right by the
And the idea is to cover the whole animal, one jump, okay?
Wow.
And as you see here, this is a brave bull. This is the one they use for bullfighting, so don't make a mistake. This guy will attack you, okay?
If you want, we went to Yellowstone National Park this
Yeah.
year, and just out of curiosity, we looked up bison,
Yeah,
and there's a video online of a bison
yeah,
tossing a girl,
yeah.
and she's running, and you can't see her because it's behind her, and then all of a sudden you see this body go up, and
It's up in the air.
right in the air, and she lands, and she's okay.
Yeah, well, she was lucky. But no, this was deliberately jumping in, telling them we can fly over you, so that sort of thing. But anyway, so Columbus gets across. He, in the second and third trip, he did bring livestock, okay? And in the beginning, there wasn't that much to it. There were really no grasslands or anything like that. In Spain, really the only grasslands you'll see, very by definition, okay, is in the southern part of Spain, okay, what was Al-Andalus, okay. But other than that, not. So the people that came after Columbus and suddenly were confronted as they went west in Mexico or New Spain, okay? They saw these grasslands. And you come from Andalusia, southern part of Spain, it's a little bitty tiny thing, and all of a sudden they look, wow, all over the place, nothing but grass. And then immediately they said, what are we going to do? I mean, if we let them loose here, we'll never see them again. Well, whether they let them loose or they escaped, or both, it happened. And cattle began reproducing in prodigious amounts. So that's one of the Columbian exchanges, okay? Very much so. All right, but there's more. So this guy was the one they brought. Longhorn. It's a longhorn species of northern Africa, you know. It's not there anymore. So they brought him. He was very adaptable to hard conditions, desert-like conditions, whatever. This guy will survive. And it can deal with enemies too. He has the means to do that. Okay. The Texas, they claim they developed this thing. And they probably have modified the original brought by Columbus people. And they're very proud of their longhorn deal, and it's a very beautiful animal, as you see it here, okay? Their descendants, over the descendant cattle, have gained longhorn with the hardly characteristics, okay? The longhorns were ready-made for the New World. It was the one that would have made it. If you, of course, it didn't exist then, but if you had brought in Black Angus and let it loose in this grassland, you'll never see it again. It will not make it, okay? And I'll get to why. If you look at the world, really the number of grasslands available in America, in the American continent, are here, a little bit here, and then little patches, okay? A little more so in Africa, where the longhorn originally came from. Actually, it was from up here in Asia, Eurasia, Mesopotamia. Okay, that's the grasslands. So those are where you would expect these animals, livestock, to be suited, okay? Oops. This is what different kinds of grasslands. They go from something like this, very nice, or this, that, okay? And they get different names, steppe, savanna, grassland, pampas, llanos. What do we mean? In the U.S., we have a little bit of grasslands here, then tall grass, then mixed prairie, short grass, short type grass, mixed prairies. By mixed, I mean different grass species coming up, okay? Think about humans are funny. We get adapted and we develop cultures according to the environment we develop on. And their cultures are developed by the people that inhabit an area, okay? And we must realize that in the U.S., we have the cowboy. But what do you mean? You got cowboy music, don't you? And you can tell it immediately, all right? And you see the guy in this is a typical gear. He's got, of course, the lariat, that is the lasso. He's ready to use it. And these are examples of a mixed grass, Central Dakota. It looks like that. Very appealing to animals, okay? But then it gets kind of rough. Central New Mexico. I was just a few days ago in Arizona and got to see the desert there. And it was absolutely an eye-opener. I had never seen anything like that. You could tell where there was water and where there wasn't any water right off. And they told me that on the average, so a little bit of cattle out there, I don't know what they were, they say it takes like 100 acres per head to keep. So you're not going to have these huge numbers of cattle roaming around, and they aren't. Okay.
On your picture there, it's interesting because it looks like where you see the tall grass prairie,
Yeah.
whereas below it, which
I'm
is
sorry?
mixed grass, it looks much taller. Is that just
Yeah,
because
it
of the
is.
seasons?
It's what is it? Kentucky ryegrass and so forth. That's what they're talking about. So there would be something about like this, okay? But that's a bad picture. Good, thank you. Okay, here we go. And you go down to Venezuela and Colombia, and you are in the llanos. That's the plains. That's it. And through the years, these people, the llaneros, the plainsmen, translate. Okay, they have developed a very particular culture, incredibly free. Okay, in fact, they say, over me, God on my hat. That's it. Okay. Well, that's caused a lot of problems, as you would imagine. But the llaneros, the llanos, and goes from Colombia to Venezuela. For a long time, they didn't pay attention to that. They just went from one to the other and back and tried to stop it with the army or whatever. You're not going to succeed because they're excellent horsemen, as you would expect. Okay.
Is that an anaconda?
It is an anaconda. And I put the animals that they have to share this with. Well, here's an anaconda, and here's another one. They give you an idea. I mean, these guys can easily pick up a calf and do it, okay? So the llaneros have to deal with special situations, okay? It's not common. They really don't do that. But here's the Cebu, or the cow, the Indian, and here's a situation where you have swamp or swamp-like, it's in the llanos, and you see a lot of peccaries here having fun, okay? And this guy, the male, not the female, the male, and this is what he's doing. When he wants a meal, he knows where to get it. He goes down and grabs one of these guys. Believe me, they hunt in pairs. They pair for life, the male and the female, and they strategize. They hunt accordingly. I didn't believe that until one of my brothers-in-law told me, it's true. And when you see one, watch it, because the other one is around, you know. Might take a liking to you. Okay. And this called tapirs, and they have piranhas, which in Colombia they call them caribs. And I don't need to tell you what piranhas do, okay? Just make sure that you don't have a cut or any kind of blood when you go into the water, because they'll come for you. All right. So like I said, the environment creates the person. But you see the similarity with the cowboy? Well, this is a llanero. Again, you have the lariat and everything, he, she, there are she's too, yeah. They're not limited to men. And that is the type of terrain, lush. Occasionally you would have this situation, and the palm trees give it away. That's a moriche. And it's very good, that's all I can say. Lots of cattle is produced there.
And the altitude is fairly high, right?
I'm sorry?
The altitude is quite high here?
No. This is towards the south. You have to go more west and southwest to have the beginning of the Andes, okay? All right. As we go down, South America, well, that has a definition of its own. Yes, in the Amazon there, you find areas where you can raise cattle and so on. It has become a problem because some people don't understand ecology or the importance of the Amazon rainforest. I've been chopping it down to grow soybeans for export. And we have a problem there, a big one. And but cattle can be grown from here all the way there, okay? And this is interesting because the nature of the people change, okay? Because as you come from the Patagonia here in the south and you start going north, the people who do that, for example, down here, you have a lot of Welshmen. Welshmen settled there, okay? And they still speak Welsh. Did you know that? Okay. It's actually the only place in the world where you have Welsh. It's not recognized by the Argentine government, but you go and tell them. Wow. Okay, so you got the Patagonian arid mesetas. So now you're a little higher, okay? Here's, you can have that, or you can have that, or that, or that. All suitable, all suitable. The type of cattle may change though. And here is palm trees, and that's moriches. And the fruit of that is edible, and the cattle like it, okay? And here is Gaucho exercising his skills. And you know pampas grass, that's where it came from. Okay. All kinds of animals too. So you deal with this, you got guanacos, you got the deer, owl, gray fox, rhea, okay? And here's a little fox waiting for an opportunity. Okay. And this nice guy, you don't want to make its acquaintance, okay? Okay. But there's a gaucho.
What kind of cat was that?
It was a lion.
Mountain.
Yeah, a mountain lion.
Yes.
That version of it, because it also changes. Okay. And here's a gaucho exercise using the bolas. And then the idea, you have to be a very good horseman to be able to do that, okay? And the idea is you throw it at the legs of whatever target it is, be it animal or whatever people do. And they'll render immediately wrap around you and you're useless. You can't do anything, okay? And here's what one version of it. One version of the Argentine gaucho, okay? All right. Footnote. Well, a little later. I'll say that a little later, okay? Horsemanship is divine over there. There are all kinds of competitions, hard as hell, excuse me the word, to be accepted and be competent in these competitions. They're wild. And of course, here's in Argentina. This is in Chile. They have the roto, who is the Chilean version of the the cowboy. And I show it because you see, they don't not so much like to lasso. They bring in and actually make the cattle go, through their skills in horsemanship. It's something to see, okay? And then you have mate, and you got, this is called a bombilla, which is a little thing, and you do see them carrying hot water for it, and they put this mate, which is we have it, in ilex, escapes the ivy is a species. This is Ilex paraguayensis, something they picked up from the natives, and they put water there, and then they put it in the bombilla, and this is a silver thing, and you see them doing that all the time. It's very high in caffeine and thein, so they're kind of a stimulant. They got the Andalusian horse, but you see they changed it. They adapted it to the pampas. So these are pampa horses, what they call Creole horses, criollos, and they derive from this. Okay. And here's one of those types, and the girls having fun. Like I said, the girls are in it. Yeah. Horse, of course, was brought by the Spanish settler colonizers but quickly, like it happened in the U.S., it was a boon to the natives, okay? And they quickly developed a completely different system of breaking or taming a horse. Okay. The Spanish type is forceful and really challenges and it aims to break the will of the animal. Okay. Not these guys. These guys decided that they could be friends. Okay. And you see over here, the little one next to the horse, they become friendly. So they still retain the wildness and the strength of a wild horse, but it's a friend. It's different. So that's kind of unique to them. Here's this guy taking a siesta. No problem. He doesn't. And this guy, the planes, you got to get up to see what's going on. So he gets on top. He's not going to get thrown or anything. Okay? Oops. And this guy is a gaucho. Okay. This is more towards the Brazilian side. And they dress up like that, okay? From Argentina, okay? That's it. The Pope is from Argentina. So he's from Buenos Aires, so he probably wouldn't know anything about gauchos or anything like that. This is typical of the Brazilian gaucho. They use their horn to warn each other and even to talk to each other by sound. Mind you, the distances are large, so it's important to know where your friends are. And this also, I'm sure we have all kinds of Brazilian restaurants now, and that is one way that they do the meats, okay? Not sure it does any good to the steel, but okay. And I was going to say, all of this looks good, you know. The gauchos are free people, the llaneros are free people, you know, they, like I said, over me, God on my head, and that kind of thing. That has caused a lot of problems, a lot of problems. For example, the English tried to invade Argentina twice and ran into the gauchos. Well, you know what happened. If you got lines like that marching, and these people come in little groups very fast and never missing, okay? Well, I think it was the second time they actually captured the British admiral. They captured him, yeah. So. So that, to give you, but that can be translated into a problem, a political problem. These people are not easy to, you can't politic much with them. And there was this guy, Juan Facundo Quiroga. These are the fighting knives that they use, the facon. They're about like this. Okay, they're by it.
So was he a gaucho?
What's that?
Was he a gaucho?
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Oh, yeah. And he was from get-go, from the beginning. So he was used by this guy. Don Domingo Sarmiento was an intellectual. He did not like the gauchos at all. And they had this book published in 1845, and said Civilization and Barbarism. And he actually didn't like anything to do with this culture that had developed there, the Creole culture, the Criollos. Well, he's not really liked today, you know, because he missed it. He missed the fact that a Creole culture was being, and it wasn't all fighting, okay? There was a lot of music developed. I forgot, when I was talking of the Colombian llaneros, they have their music, and they use a harp, and it's very beautiful music, okay? These guys too, no, the tango didn't come from the gauchos, no, they have another kind of music. But this guy was just, nothing they do is any good. That was his attitude. Well, he's dead, so all we got. I tried reading the book once, honest, And I made it, I think, to the 3rd chapter until I got so disgusted I threw it. Said, I'll never see you again. You know, so I don't like it. Okay. Okay. So, all right. This production, we keep going on livestock. This production is from Afghanistan. Okay. And it is a goat. It's a goat. Yeah. It's looking at you. The Germans have the right name for it. Screwhorn. Because he has a screw. Okay. This is, goats are everywhere, you know. But this is one of the many ibexes that goats are derived from. Okay. They're still there. Okay. Capra means goat. Okay. So this. And this one loses this deal. Don't ask me what that is good for. I have no idea. But I'm sure that he had it. There's a reason for it. So as you go around, you see that. And then this is not the U.S., okay? This is in Spain, Sierra Nevada, okay? This is Capra hispanica, okay? This is closer, very close to what we call a goat, okay? And that's a goat, okay? So don't leave me out, okay? Because they make a racket. They can make a racket about it, okay? I tell people that if you were going to settle an unknown land, okay, what animal would you carry? The goat. It has everything. It's tough. It'll survive anywhere. Okay. You say pig. No, pig won't make it in the desert. These guys will. Okay.
They also eat everything.
I'm sorry?
They eat everything.
Paper included. Okay. And that's the male, the female, and so on. Talk a little bit about it. And again, I bring you another romanticized view. Poems written about the shepherd boy, the goat shepherd, here you go, with his friends, you know, there he is, thanking the kid, you know. Or something like this, even more romantic. They got a, anyway. What it indicates that, like the bull, the goat really has a very close association with humans, okay? Much closer than the bull, I would say. This is from Afghanistan, okay? Okay. But we don't have shepherds today. We have this, okay? It's okay. This.
So are you saying that it was humans that, beginning with an ibex type animal,
Right.
over a long period of selection,
Thousands of years.
thousands of years,
They started selecting maybe for milk, maybe for whatever, and they got rid of those things. So they downsized it and got rid of the ornaments up there. Okay. And wound up like this. Because goat cheese sells very well. And this isn't a fight. It's always been like that. But it's always underproduced in relation to the demand. Good goat cheese will sell immediately, okay? I don't need to enter into details on that, but this is today. Of course, varieties races have developed. Some are like the cows. You got milk ones and you got cheese one, and the composition of the milk changes, okay? So that an adaptations to whatever environment. This guy is happy, okay? But this hasn't been abandoned. You do still see goat herds around, you know, leading almost anywhere because they like it. They're not that difficult to manage, but you got to have the dogs for them, okay? And they do. Yeah. And I finish here. When I say intimate, it is. Some people have them as pets, and they're great. They tell me. I don't know about the smell, but yeah. Okay. Let's change now. Now, this is a very serious, very, very serious animal, the pig. The pig. Yes, the pig I already mentioned came with Columbus, and it did well. It did well, okay. Spanish, jabalí, okay. Word of Arab origin. You got that? This is a scientific name, sus. And they're wild, boar, pig, feral pigs, all kinds of variations. Okay? Want to give you a little more on the origin of this animal. Okay. If you go into evolutionary system, we know that the original had some kind of wings or appendages in the back, and we don't know why. And that was lost. And then you get into this kind of thing. So through all these families of pigs, you start with an ancestor that had some appendages or something, and we, for the love of God, don't know what they was for, but I'm sure they had a reason for that. Okay. This is a common ancestor. And then you go into the Babirusa. Here you got the peccary, okay. And this whole line over here, they're in the genus Sus. They're very related to each other, okay. But there are many species. And the one that we're interested in is the domestica version of it. But the pig is really complicated because it was domesticated in two different parts of the world. One was China, and the other Turkey from Anatolia. Okay. The wild hogs in the world, such as a warthog, okay, pygmy hog, pig deer.
Where is pig deer?
Africa? Yeah. But of all these forms, humans only worked on Sus scrofa, which is the pig that we know. Process took place about 9,000 to 10,000 years ago, as far as the bones and the rest and the DNA analysis that we made. It's that old. So it's always been around. That's a warthog, okay. Pygmy, okay. And this is the pig deer. He has recurved teeth, okay, whatever you call them. Anyway, and these two are not, apparently are having a disagreement. So I don't know what happens. If they get locked in there, they're gonna die. Okay, but this is the guy. And this Sus scrofa, the wild boar. You find wild boars, not only these shapes, all kinds of shapes, from the Siberian wild boar. You ever seen them? It's this high. It's this high, and it is wild. To the regular pigs that we have in Alabama, feral pigs, it goes all kinds. So, but they all derive from Sus scrofa. Okay. Here's one version of it.
Do you happen to know what kind of feral pigs are in the Tuskegee Forest?
What kind?
Do you know what kind of pigs are in the Tuskegee Forest?
Yeah, this it is the feral. Those usually are descendants of what Columbus brought, okay? But then some hunters, I understand, didn't like those because they were too easy to kill or whatever, okay? And they brought some from Siberia, and they said, oh, we can contain them and so on. You cannot contain a pig because it'll dig and escape. I'm sure the animal escaped, and then it started crossing with the local Columbus-derived animal. And there have been continuously domesticated pigs that escape, and they readily cross. I'll give you an example of that in a little while, okay? Out of Anatolia, central China, there are hundreds literally, races, varieties of pigs all over the world. I was going to get a slide with some of them I gave up. It was just too many. But anyway, take it. You can expect anything. The genetic diversity, remember what I showed you about the modern goat production? Well, that's been going on with pigs too. So genetic diversity is going down. And that is a concern because we lose a genetic base. So we cannot do as much or as easily the crosses that we need for whatever. So that is a concern. And some countries are trying to do something to prevent that or at least reduce it. But in my opinion, the problem is you don't have places. Humans have taken over everywhere, so you cannot manufacture a grassland like that, come in and de novo, no. Anyway, okay. This is the black Iberian pig. He's black. Iberian pigs in Extremadura, Spain. So what on earth am I leading you up to? Wait, okay. Wait, yeah. Okay. Now, these people in Iberia, pig is very important, and they get down to the genetics of it. To be called a pure Iberian pig, okay, the mother always has to be Iberian, okay. The father can be a Poland China, a Duroc, or what they call a white pig. The Iberian pig of Columbus is black, and just is black, okay? So they classify him, and they said 100% Iberian, mother and father, okay? The mother is always Iberian, but the father can be 50% or nondescript. Why they want to cross it? Because the yield is higher, okay? The black pig doesn't yield as much, and it's very finicky about being raised in pens or anything like that. Okay. We're talking about ham. That's what it is. It's the Serrano ham of Spain. It's a very expensive, very high in demand. Okay. And I'll give you some examples. To the extent that they go classifying. If you have the pig, you got the pig in front of you, okay, you're going to sacrifice. They say, what was it fed with? Was it fed with acorns from the cork oak? Okay, that's 100% Iberian. Okay, but it was 75%. Okay, then it's a classification. These colors denote how close to 100% they are. Okay. Or was it, this was fed with acorns, okay? Okay, this one is from out in the field, open, not under oak, okay? They get another classification. And this guy was out on a farm or something, okay? It will make sense now, believe me. Okay. That's the Iberian hog. And you got the white pigs, okay? From the size, you see that this guy yields more than the other. There's no question. Okay.
Can you go back one again?
Sure.
On the left side there where it says,
Cebo
Recursos
means,
naturales de la dehesa. What is, you see at the bottom line?
Yeah.
What's dehesa?
oh, cebo is forage, stuff, packaged stuff. Okay, sorry. Okay, so there you go. This is the main production area. Actually, it goes to a little bit into Portugal too. Why? Because that is where the cork oak is. So what's cork oak? Stupid. See, it's right next to Castile and La Mancha. Okay, all right. That's a cork oak. Okay. It's not particularly high or anything like that. This area, Extremadura. Dura is hard, extremely hard land. That's what it means. So you're limited into what you can grow and do over there. But pigs you can raise, okay? And thereafter, it's a picture of a drawing. Okay. Quercus suber. Suber in Latin means cork. The oak where cork comes from. Okay. There you go. This is what the pig has to eat. Okay. They're getting fancy now. You see, they're planting sweet lupins, a legume, to have nitrogen. There is nitrogen that makes things right, okay? And they can also sell the sweet lupins. Just a little more. Okay. So the guys get you get the pig, but you also get the cork. And this is the way, there it is. The guy working on it. They get the cork out. And these are being decorked. Okay. They take all that. The tree doesn't die. It just puts another layer of, in. That's it. Here's this guy, he got a chunk of it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
They have these in Sicily, my wife's family.
I'm sorry?
In Sicily, Sicilia, they have this tree, and
Okay, so
I've seen this.
I didn't know
and I
that.
think, oh, they're killing the tree right now.
No.
Oh, wow.
That's a cross section of the corks. All right. The whole issue is here. Iberic ham, very, very high price. Okay. Since Roman times. So you kill a pig on the second week of November. Why? Because that's when it gets cold. Begins to be cold. So that was St. Martin's Day in the Catholic hagiology. So when you, there's a saying in Spanish, when somebody is not behaving and so on, oh, you will get your St. Martin's Day. Somebody will get you, But anyway, that is what it refers to. Okay, so you do it second week of November. Okay. And the aim is to have this. Back in Roman times, and the Muslims and so on, they didn't have refrigeration. They used salt. Same here, Virginia ham. See, you salt it. What's the purpose of salting? Get rid of the water. What they call it the water, but it's the juices of it. You got to dry it, all right? And there is a process by which you have to stick to it. Salting okay? Rest or post-salting, okay? And then you go to dry curing. The Italians produce prosciutto, and there is Virginia ham, no comparison, because they don't take the time to cure it. They rush it through. This is not a rush job if you want quality. Okay. Salting. Then you have it resting. You got to rest so that you give time for the salt to penetrate, salting on the outside, to penetrate the meat, and that takes time. Okay. Then dry curing. Once you see that it's not doing anymore, and they got precise times on all of it, you put it in a place properly built for dry curing. You just rest there, okay? And you can, depending on the person doing it or the company doing it, you can accelerate it or shorten or accelerate or prolong the curing, okay? And that has to do with quality and price. Here it is. The pig arrives. They kill him. They refrigerate the leg, okay? Then the saucy at 0.5 degrees. That's refrigerator temperature, okay? Then you wash the salt. There is post-salting, aging, okay? And then goes to dry curing and aging, okay?
Do they,
Lots of details in there, a lot of details that I'm skipping, okay?
do they circulate the air?
Oh, absolutely.
They have to.
Slowly, okay? There. See, these guys, they got all of that, they got salt in, okay? So now they're gonna put it X amount of time, okay? And when the ham no longer drips, okay? That says you're close now, okay? So they take them out, get the salt out, you know, and goes to aging. And we're talking sometimes years, okay? According to how it was treated, it receives a label, black or red or green, and it's put when you buy it. You go to Spain and you want to buy one of these, carry a little thing telling you what the colors of the label mean, because they might sell you something that is not what you want, okay?
So from the ones that were covered in salt,
Yeah.
they don't wash the salt out, it drips off?
No. The salt penetrates
Yeah.
in, and the excess salt, they just,
Fluff stuff.
they wipe it off. No water, okay? There it is. And this is what I'm talking about, see? These labels tell you what they are. And the price varies. This is $800 a kilo, this particular one. And typically, it's cut very, very thin. You see the knife under? You don't eat a chunk of it, because then they use it to do this or wrap around other things. But you see, if you cut across, you see how the fat and the meat proper are layers, and that's important. Okay. Here the pigs, they eating the acorns. Okay. And there are several other things that are gotten from the pig. Okay. They are not as elaborate, but making chorizo and making salchichas, all this kind of thing. But basically, they all follow a drying process. You know, at some point they'll put salt. Buen provecho. You know what that means?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So you got, of course, to have wine. It's senseless to start eating Serrano and have not a good wine around. Come on, man. It's, so conviviality. Okay. So the pig is a friend. Okay. Okay. We have a major problem in the U.S. and in many other places, in Spain too. People used to hunt, you know, boars. I mean, hunt is hunt, and hunting in Spain is something that you have to be a good horseman, and they got the dogs and all of that coming in, and they move. Okay. I was invited once to one of those. I asked for a jackass because I am not a horseman. Okay. They all laughed, and it's not laughing matter. Okay. But over in the last 30 years or so, there's been less and less hunting going on. The number of hunters have plummeted. Okay. Well, the population dynamics of pigs and so on were calculated as they are here on the basis how many animals are out there, and there are very good systems to calculate what kind of animals. I get involved in this because I got a call many years ago from a peanut farmer, and he was just irate. Well, I wasn't in extension, but I was doing field research and all kinds. So they said, no, go and call Rod. So I went down, it was near Eufaula. I never seen anything like this. It was something like about 50 acres or so, and had been completely dug up by these guys. And they were, of course, once you dig it up like that, you lost it, because there is no way, and it wasn't even close to maturity. So I said, who did this? The pigs. They were running around and doing all kinds of damage. Same thing happened in Spain. And they said, look, people are not hunting anymore. And he said, what happened? They don't grow in farms now, or close to farms. They grow in cities. They have no, and to me, being who I am, I mean, to actually have hatred of weapons. Man, I mean, that's basic to me. No. But that is one result. Okay. It's been the same here with deer.
Yeah.
Deer have become shorter, sicknesses, stuff like that. So that is one of the factors. Okay. Feral type pigs distribution across the U.S.
Okay, not in New York State.
This is not up to date. It's 2004, and this is 08 or something. As far as it, I don't think, or whatever. But it does show how they have a spread. And I think the argument that there are less people hunting them, it's a good one. There's a good reason for it. Oh, but Mother Nature. There's Mother Nature. They cross. These feral pigs, they cross with domesticated pigs, and you get monsters like this. So one time, somebody in Georgia claimed that he had shot a 1,000-pound pig, and they went to look at it, and it was a hybrid, but it wasn't 1,000 pounds, but it was almost 700 pounds, which is huge. Okay, so that is a problem, that we have, still have. Yeah.
I've been assigned to test a couple places in the Tuskegee Forest for
Yeah.
E. coli upstream and downstream of a pig wallow. And I've seen the footprints, and I talked to the ranger, and she said that no hunter has reported being able to find and shoot a pig because they're so smart about burying themselves during the day,
Oh, yeah.
and they're only at night,
Yeah,
out at night.
yeah. There used to be for a while, this is 20-some years ago, somewhere in North Alabama, excuse me, I don't remember it, there was a company that was actually taking in hunters because it was all of a sudden hunting with infrared was legal. And it was taking them at night, and then from the truck they would shoot the animal, bing, bing, and so forth. So, okay, so it generated a business. I haven't heard that they're doing that anymore, but for a while they were doing it, and they were taking people from Georgia, even from Europe coming in. You know, you kill a pig in Germany, you're in trouble. I mean, big, big trouble. A lot of money it's going to cost you. But here, please, go ahead. Okay.
You know, here, if it's walking on the very soft ground,
I'm sorry?
if you find the track in a soft place, then I see there would be a sharp point behind the tube,
Yeah.
because they
If
had,
it hits the
Oh,
ground,
yeah, if it's
very
soft
soft.
enough.
We'll look for those in Tuskegee.
I got this from, yeah, I got this
I
from
have
the,
seen their hoof prints in
Oh.
Tuskegee,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, they are there, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
you won't see them. You're right, okay. Let's stop here, okay? And let's take about 5 minutes, and I promise I won't talk anymore about pigs, okay? Okay. That's it.
Very good,
Thank you.
yeah.
It's real. It's always something you do, you know that. We're a bad species.
Yeah.
Really, but I remember when they brought the Siberian pig, and because the hunters wanted something, you know, a little more difficult, and it didn't take the pig, but a few days and escaped, and you won't find them. Okay, and then the claims, then in 2 or 3 years, claims started that I shot a pig. Well, it was a 1,000-pound pig that was really 600-700 pounds, but they were large, very large. Well, it was hybrid bigward. That's called heterosis, and that's what has happened. They're both from the same genus, close enough, like donkeys and
Yeah.
horse, you get a mule. That's what they got. Okay. Yeah.
It was interesting on a picture, it showed no wild pig in New York State, where I'm from. And I know we have a lot of hunters there. Like last year, I know there were over 200,000 deer shot during the hunting
That's
season.
it. That's strange.
So it must be they also kill the pig if they see them.
Well, it might be the weather.
Yeah.
The weather is
Yeah,
too
they only
cold.
spread so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you go and look, it's a good point. It's the Mason-Dixon line on north. No.
There's a little group in Wisconsin on your
Yeah,
map there,
yeah.
you know, a few other spots, kind of random, but mostly it's in the south and southwest.
But now we got climate change.
Yeah,
Like this year, I know Rochester, we're gonna have the warmest winter ever. Right, we have 5 times the snow come and melt completely away. Whereas when I was a kid, it comes in December,
yeah.
doesn't go till March, right?
Yeah.
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 So when I read, I think it was in the book 1492,
Yeah.
I think that's the book where I saw that DeSoto
Yeah.
brought 400 pigs
Yeah.
with him in his expedition.
That's it.
And then they all got away too, the ones that survived.
I forgot to tell one of the lectures. A point made was when the Spanish went around, and they did go around, okay, they would see an island, okay, were not interested in stopping there, but they would leave pigs,
Because next to it,
yeah, pigs, and in some cases goats too. And then they say, well, maybe not us, but somebody's gonna touch here. When they got, in case of pigs, a year from there, it'd be pigs all over the place.
Yeah, and when they come back,
Yeah.
even if they didn't want to settle there, they could
Restock.
Restock the
They
boat.
restock the boat, they get water and pigs and all of that. But they were systematic about that. They did that
That's
too
interesting.
down at River Plate. Some, I forgot the explorer, got up the Paraná River, okay, and they were eating oranges, and they threw the seed. And whoever came after, there were oranges all over the place. That's what it was. But at that time, we weren't even thinking about that. It was gold and silver. That's it, man. That's crazy. Okay.
So, in Texas, I think in Western Stories, there's an area called the Llano Estacado.
Estacado, yeah.
That means fenced or
Yeah,
staked?
fenced, yeah.
Fenced in,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Fenced in. Yeah, it's, anyway, let me get with her.
Yeah, good pictures.
Okay. Uf. Pupita.
Es interesante, los marranitos son lindos.
Okay. You got pigs today.
Pig man, well, I ain't got many pigs, Rod.
They're out there. Oh, they're out there. I guarantee you
Remember
there.
those days. Like I say, a certain time of the year when the sun was,
Well, in a little, say a minute or two, okay?
Okay, cool.
All right. You can put the first one out on that. The first light. Oh, you got it already? Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem.
As usual. All right. Now we're going to go into it. All right. Okay.
later in the day.
All right. Let's go. Okay. All right. Okay, let's continue with a completely different subject.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, sure. We got enough pigs already. Okay. All right. And the subject is slavery. And no matter what we say, it is a fact of the Columbian exchange, slavery. Okay. It's a tough subject. It's a subject I don't really like because there's really nothing good in it. Nothing good in it that I can.
Well, whenever I get into the conversation about American history now, how America became great,
Yeah,
I said, let's start with two words. Let's start it with enslavement
yeah,
and genocide.
yeah. We'll go into that. We'll go into that. Okay.
All right,
So
back in.
let's walk this trail.
Gotta go
It
down.
truly is a trail of tears.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Okay. We will go into the definitions and origins before the Roman, classical Roman, medieval Europe, Northern Europe. The big differences. Iberia, Portuguese and Spanish administration, okay? And the latifundia, hacienda, fazendas, sugarcane, whatever, you know. We'll go into that. I don't think we'll cover all of that today, but we will continue next week, okay? We'll continue next
Well,
week.
this is not the last class.
How's that?
We have another class next week? Oh,
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
it wasn't on the checkout sheet.
No,
Check-
I'll be here next week in this place, okay?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, slavery is a system, okay? The key point in the slavery is that man is considered property, okay? Once you're considered property, you have no rights,
Yeah.
okay? the lawyer will not help you because your property, like you have a chair or you have whatever in the house, your property. That's the key point, okay? A slave is unable to withdraw, incapable or unable, certainly capable, but unable to free away, okay? That's another characteristic. May also refer to any situation. The name slave is not used. An indentured servant, or any situation that limits you in your ability to be free and do what you want. Okay? That can be, there are degrees, okay? But there are forms of the slavery. So keep that in mind. Okay. Slaves came from Africa. Okay. That's what we're taught. We're taught they came from Africa. And indeed, there was a slave trading going on all over Africa, even before the Portuguese and other Europeans were there. Part of the war's loot was people, which then they sold, usually at a pretty good price. I'm not talking about Europeans here. I'm talking about Africa, okay? And other places. Dhows. Remember I talked to you about the ability of the dhows to go anywhere? Well, part of the merchandise were slaves. Shells for use. This was the money. Here's a picture of Arab slave traders. The Quran does not prohibit slavery, except on Muslims. You cannot enslave Muslims. But if they are outside, okay. Now, this is an engraving of Arab slave trading caravans, 13th century in Yemen, same thing, they're selling people. And this is Zanzibar. Look at the change, 1889, okay. What's my point? It's been going on for a while. A few more of this. Khartoum in Sudan, 1876. This guy is checking 1 lakh for teeth, like you do horses, things like that, And 1848 in Cairo. This is a list. You got it in the handout. Here's the year, the country, and the action. Slave trade peaks. 1700, then in Britain, 1823, the abolition of slave trading. Okay, and it goes on. The United States, a lot of people don't know this. 1808, abolition of slave trade. That meant you couldn't go to Africa or outside the U.S. to buy slaves and bring them and trade on them. No. However, you could trade within the United States, okay?
And breed them.
And breed them and sell them. That was okay. So, well, we had the Civil War cooking in there, okay? All right. Cuba was under Spanish rule, and it was not abolished until 1886. Brazil, 1888, was the Empire of Brazil, okay? So what's my point? My point is that all nation groups have been dealing with this, and generally, most people did not like it. That's my opinion. It's an opinion. The United Nations, okay, gets into it, as it should. There is the 1948 freshly mint United Nations was in San Francisco when it was founded, okay. Journalism adopts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There is such a thing. Okay? No one shall be held in servitude. Notice the wording. Slavery in all its forms shall be eliminated. They don't say postpone or nothing. Eliminated. Okay. But you see, this is pretty late, because in the blessed Quakers, okay, had always, from the beginning, much before 1840, going to the 1700s, they argued that slavery was not good, was you're really violating your religious principles when you accept that. And they had, in 1840, a World Anti-Slavery Convention in London. Okay, so. When the League of Nations came, okay, after World War I, on the 15th of November, 1920, okay? The first large-scale move to end slavery, community, 1926, through the League of Nations, the Slavery Convention, and again in 1957, when the supplementary convention came into power, then taken by the United Nations. The League of Nations didn't exist then. Okay. This is where the League of Nations met until it was dissolved in 1946. Okay. This is what we're talking about. These were not slaves, but they were slaves. Okay. And this was in the coal mines, okay? Child labor in the Cameroon. Cameroon was under German, it was a German colony. This picture was taken in 1919. So we don't have to go to Roman time. This thing is being with us. I mean, hanging on in there, okay?
My wife's family was from Sicily.
I'm sorry?
And my wife's family originated in Sicily,
Okay.
and they were mining sulfur in Sicily.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
All of this child labor and so on. And the United States
Yeah,
actively recruited Sicilians
yeah,
to go to Pennsylvania to work the coal mines.
yeah, I know,
But
yeah.
the conditions were not very healthy.
No, it wasn't really addressed. They didn't want to address it, okay?
Yeah.
Here's something that says Belgium and France, England, and this is the Keystone State. The U.S. wouldn't touch it and never approved it, you know. Okay. Slavery commit the status or condition of a person over whom any or all powers attaching to the right ownership are exercised, including all acts involving capture, acquisition, so forth of people, acts involving acquisition of a slave with a view of selling and exchanging, all acts disposed of a sale, exchange, slave acquired with a view of being sold, exchanged in general, every act, trade, or transport in slaves. It's clear, okay? Then there was the optional protocol to abolish the covenant. They have this thing. The ICCPR, governed by the Human Rights Committee, is responsible for internationally monitoring present condition of slaves. That is extant and it exists today. Okay? But we got a problem. And the problem is that we're rooted in classical culture, the Greeks, okay? The Aristotelian approach. And he said it in his Politics. Money is divided into the masters and the slaves, okay? Those who have the right to command and those who are born to obey. Boom, period, okay. Christianity came, and they adopted what? The Aristotelian model of philosophy. And that ruled through and into the Middle Ages. We'll get to that maybe. It's interesting. Hugh Thomas, it's a nice book if you haven't read it. Both settled society, one time or another, have employed forced labor. Slavery was a major institution in antiquity, period, no discussion. Okay? So he said, buy it. Okay. If you need food, and anything to produce food, including fishing, requires energy. And when you don't have machines, you have people or animals, okay? And in that case, people become animals, okay? Okay. In antiquity, the Roman Empire was based in slavery. 500,000 captives per year are estimated were required to maintain the Roman Empire. 1 out of 3 members of the empire's population was a slave. That a slave existed, you can go back to Mesopotamia. In the code of law of Hammurabi, the slave rights are defined. Okay? Roman established you're a servant, okay? You're a slave. If you, to distinguish from a serf, a serf was a colonus, okay? That was linked with what you could and could not do with the rights that you have or not have, okay? So you know the Roman codes of law. They were very specific. Many current codes of law are nothing but derivations of the Roman code of law. Yeah. To the Romans, slave was someone's property. There you go, you start there. Greeks were unprejudiced. They did not care what you look like. White, Chinese, black, didn't make any difference to them. A slave is a slave. That's it. It's property. Just like a chair is painted red or painted white, whatever they say, it's a chair. That's it. That was their attitude. The early Christian church did not question slavery, but it did encourage manumission. You see, the manumission is you pay the price and set the person free. Okay? They did encourage that, and they said this was, you gain merit to go to heaven if you did that, or something like that. Okay. Constantine declared that no Jew could buy nor own a Christian slave. Period. I'm just cherry picking things, okay? So Aristotle is accepted as a philosopher, is accepted by Christianity, and goes on and on, caused all kinds of problems, but that is a fact, okay? Mesopotamia. These are things that were achieved. You know? So don't trash slavery yet, okay? Don't trash it yet. Because they did do this, the hydraulic system of China, the pyramids of Egypt, road building and aqueducts and whatever, the Roman engineering works, and they were very good engineers. And in the Americas, no, the nativists here argue with me always, no, we didn't have this. Oh yeah, you had it. It was the same thing. The Maya, the Inca, the Aztec, they all practice slavery as defined for a limited property, okay? When they went to war, I'll go a little more detail when we cover the Aztecs. The military strategy of the Aztecs was not so much to defeat the enemy as to capture them alive to be processed, in there. It cost them the empire. They came across the Spanish tercios. No chance. Okay. Okay. I put that.
So, a question too. So,
I'm sorry.
if when a person who was enslaved became too old to work,
Became?
when they became too old to work sufficiently,
Yeah.
were they still supported, fed, and so on? As a slave, I mean, how would they be treated when they are too old to work?
Well, they usually put him there until he died. They didn't care about it.
Yeah.
If we get into details of how the Romans treated people like that, well, I don't even tell you. There was things that they did, okay? Not nice. Canals and irrigation ditches, all built with the slaves or serfs, okay? Yeah. It's a, this is kind of, I go to the artist, his idealized deal, you know, I don't see anything, and this guy is not sweating, so I don't know, you know.
Happily smiling.
Okay. These are things that are idealized, and they're based on the remains that we have, and I'm sure there's a lot of artistic freedom there, okay? Okay. This Assyrian soldier is courting Sumerians. This guy is giving it to, these are all the slaves, okay? So we go back to Mesopotamia, look what this guy is doing, all right? So you go to war to kill and capture slaves. Code of Hammurabi, and it's law number 15. I read some of it, translation of course, and it's pretty dry. And the punishment were, he shall be put to death. Almost for anything, she shall be put to death. That's it, you know. No niceties or nothing. You violated the law, therefore chop chop. That's it, okay. Egypt. The Egyptians will work the field, you know, when the Nile floods came and so forth, and for so many days or weeks or months. And then they had to work on the pyramids or whatever else the Pharaoh was building, and that was a form of tax. In essence, they could not shake that. So by the definition I gave you, they were slaves. Okay. Anyway. The Mayas, if you've seen these things, my nativist friends in Mexico, I said, they always argue with me about this. No, you did have slaves. Did have slaves, okay. They said, you couldn't escape, you know, the system. But you can argue, these are magnificent things that were done. Mm-hmm. So they are there. Okay. In Teotihuacan, okay. The Colosseum. And here we begin to get into thing with Christians, okay? Because they were also enslaved. Senatus Populis Romanus, Populusque Romanus, okay? They told you, this is from the Roman Senate, okay? You get it? Ching, that's it, okay? And in some historians want to present the Roman Republic as distinct from the empire, that it was such a beautiful thing. Well, I don't know about that, because they did go to capture people too, okay? The Colosseum was much later, but yeah. Or aqueduct, you have to have water. Showing this because their engineering was terrific, really very good. It's still there. Still, you can see it, okay? All right. You think the Empire State is going to be there 1,000 years from now? Okay. All right. And this one is the one that is most intriguing, engineering point of view. You have this coffers. And my engineering friends told me that the composition of the cement here is different from that. It changes as you go to the eye or operculum, okay? It becomes lighter because there is much less load on it, and this rascal figured it out, you know. How many buildings like this can you come remember around the world that use no steel, no iron, just cement? Could we build one like that today? I don't know. Okay, but this, you got an empire, you're gonna have to have communications, okay? So it's the via, the road, okay? They're very good, here's one. Here's the army, that's why you need the road. See the army going, tick, tick, tick. They could move quickly, and that is. Here I put this is a 2-year-old modern, and this this is a 2,000-year-old via, okay? You can get into the details, and we do know the details, how they built these things, okay? My point is, this is only possible because, remember, they went to wars, and it was to capture, to impose your power, but also to capture people that could be put to work and as slaves, okay? Yeah, there it is. That's a road map. It's an entire, the major roads, the main roads, the I-85, I think you went into something like that, and you could reach anywhere and reach it safely because they had the means to police and make sure that you behaved. You know. There was a Colosseum waiting for you there, you know. Okay. China, okay. The Grand Canal, okay. Also built with essentially slave labor. Okay. In the new China, we're being treated to, they don't mention that, you know, the Middle Kingdom and so forth. Well, it went from Beijing all the way past Shanghai down to Hangzhou, all the way. It's still there, still working. Yeah. Imperial China. The Sui dynasty was built during this period. Okay? Libyan people and enslaved Bushmen. Slaves helped build it. That's the summary. The world's first agricultural revolution, Mesopotamia. First code of laws. In the golden years of Greece, slaves worked in just about all services and production activity. You had one, remember, 1 in 4. And since my background is in agriculture, you run into the latifundia. That word is used in Spanish almost without change. It's called latifundio, okay? Big farm, huge farm, okay?
It's still used in Sicily
Yep.
because they only dissolved after World War II.
Well,
And,
recall that Sicily was part of Spain,
yeah.
the Aragonian crown. So, The latifundia were the closest approximation to industrialized agriculture. And like we have today, you have a latifundium, big plantation. You want to plant that which gives you money, not necessarily that which the nation needs. So the Roman planted what? Olives, grapes, okay, and I forgot some of the wheat. That was it. Here's some artist version of what it was. That's from, again, artist. And you get a view of it. It's all centralized, okay. In the U.S., and traditionally, cities, no, the farmer lives in the farm, okay. That was about as anti-Roman as you could be. They didn't trust you. They said, "You're going to be free there?" No. I got a kid. You come over here, and every morning you go to your piece, but you come over here, where the government is. Okay. Yeah. You still see it. This is a Roman. This is in England. But you see, that's the same. It's a latifundio. Okay. A little close up. Here's the house and everything, and you go to the various. Okay. Not bad. And the men from independent farmers were forced to devote their time to military service because as you needed more and more slaves, you had, but they ran out of enemies, okay? That was a problem. Bought up their land to create great states called latifundia. We see that today happening, okay? Decline in food production because they will only produce that which they could sell easily. Produce in quantity and sell easily. That was the real reason for the decline of the Roman Empire. Severe scarcity, slaves captured in wars. Nordic tribes. I was taught that the barbarians came in masses and invaded the Roman Empire. No, it's not true. The barbarians were invited to come and settle and produce on their latifundia systems, some of them being the owners of that. That is what destroyed the Roman Empire. There was no big invasion. That's nonsense. Right? There's no proof of it. Functions of it, albeit in most cases within some limitations. You say they were not able to kill slaves. You don't kill that. That you don't do. Northern Europe was thus left with no slaves, but retained the ability on the back of serfs. So the big difference is who's a serf, where you come from, okay, and how are you ruled. This is a medieval European social system. The king, the nobleman, okay, the knight, military, and then you and I, that had the serf working. That was the system that developed. For centuries, that was it. It's good to be king. That's the conclusion. Yeah, you want to be. So you got this. You want to be as close to up there as you can, okay? All right. Pay attention. accepted by the Christian kings and people. Okay? Okay? Remember, you are born since you're little. That's the system there is. That's the only thing you see. This guy serves the other guy, and then the nobleman, okay, and so forth. Let's see. Let's leave it there. And we'll continue next week, okay? This is a character to start with, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank